there, friends. It's me, Sam B. For over a year now, we've been covering the situation at the border, and it is not good. We thought we'd use the next half hour as a walk down memories we can't forget lane. So strap yourself into a comfy chair far away from anything that can be easily broken and or fashioned into a weapon. See you on the other side. Last week, Donald Trump held a public roundtable on immigration enforcement. Appropriately enough for these occasions where the main objective is to suck up to him, the president's official YouTube page says it took place at the White Hose, which is also both the Secret Service and Melania's nickname for him. Among all the participants at the White Hose that day, acting ICE Director Thomas Homan stood out for his plaintive cry in defense of his agency.
You got a congressman who said, quote, "The cowardly acts of ICE officers that terrorize innocent immigrant communities. ICE does more to protect the immigrant community than any politician ever has done. I'm sick and tired of the constant vilification of these men and women."
Leave Brittany alone!
Oh, remember when people used to defend women on the internet? It was a simpler time. ICE, of course, refers to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the agency whose job application is just a single question asking if the real hero of Schindler's List was the girl shouting, "Goodbye, Jews." If that criticism of ICE makes you sad, here's a proposal. Let's shut it the fuck down. I'm serious, it's awful, and we don't actually need it. You know, as a liberal, I don't usually advocate for smaller government, but in this case, as I say to my barista every morning, there should be one less ICE. Far from being an essential part of our republic, ICE has only existed since 2003. It's the same age as America's Next Top Model. You've known what smizing is for as long as ICE has existed. And though it may be hard to believe during haircut week, ICE has ruined far more lives.
The number of those immigrants with no criminal record that are arrested has doubled under this administration.
In a recent 2-year period, federal data shows there have been more than 1,000 complaints of sexual assaults and sexual abuse at immigration detention centers nationwide.
For 3.5 years, Davina Watson was held in an immigration detention center. He lived with the constant fear of being deported, even though Davina is a U.S. citizen.
Oh yeah, 3 years is rough, but have you ever been a powerful government employee that someone was mean to once? Before ICE, the U.S. didn't have an agency dedicated to deporting people who pose no threat to us. Until the current wave of wall humpers came to power, a lot of conservatives were totally cool with that.
I believe in the idea of amnesty for those who have put down roots and who have lived here, even though some time back they may have entered illegally.
Oh man, imagine if Trump saw that today. He'd probably be like, "Whoa, a ghost!" It was actually Reagan, a Republican president, who gave amnesty to 3 million undocumented immigrants, and a Democratic president who screwed them over by ramping up deportation, which seems counterintuitive until you realize they had switched bodies after getting struck by lightning while urinating in a fountain. Also, Donald Trump immediately went for a swim in that fountain. And ICE isn't just new, it's in entirely the wrong part of the government. ICE was created shortly after 9/11, when Islamophobia was as rampant as tube tops and respect for Rudy Giuliani. Oh shit, 2 of those things are back. If tube tops come back in, I swear to God, I might stop shopping at Forever 21. In our national terrorism freakout, we turned immigration from an economic and labor issue into a national security issue. Deportations were handled by the Enforcement and Removal Operations Unit, a division of the newly created ICE, which was a division of the newly created Department of Homeland Security, which was a division of, I want to say, Nabisco? By putting the anti-terrorism people in charge of immigration, the government signaled that immigrants are a threat. But ICE's own figures show most immigrants in detention pose no threat to the public. Abolishing ICE should be a bipartisan issue. It's textbook government waste. We spend more than $6 billion a year on this bloated, unaccountable, cruel department. So what do Republicans say we should do about agencies like ICE?
It is dictatorial. It is unaccountable. It is practically unrestrained and expanding on its already expansive mandate from Congress, and it is contemptuous of the rights, values, and preferences of ordinary Americans. There's no better example of the corruption of power than this agency. It is imperative that we move toward abolishing the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? Oh, sorry, I thought he was talking about ICE. I must have zoned out while gazing lustily at his sexy neck scrotum. And remember, ICE isn't Border Patrol. They work on the interior of the country. They're getting rid of immigrants who are already living in our society, most of whom just want the same things we all want: a safe place to live, a job to support their family, and more skin on Riverdale. Unfortunately, our big, lumpy boy sees every immigrant as a threat, so he's given ICE carte blanche, emphasis on blanche, to round up as many as it can find. Veterans, parents who have lived and worked here for decades, people who will literally be murdered if sent back to their home country. Our current immigration policy is an early 2000s relic that's become outdated, a law enforcement Adrian Brody, if you will. And like Adrian Brody, it must be eliminated. Abolishing ICE shouldn't be controversial. Despite what Fox News would have you believe, it doesn't mean we let immigrants who commit actual crimes go free. We already have mechanisms to prosecute them through something called the law. The criminal justice system can handle immigrants just like it handles everybody else. So don't worry, Republicans. Even if we score a win for human decency by getting rid of ICE, you can still count on the police and the prison system to treat non-white people like subhuman garbage, so everybody wins. Truly, the number one reason ICE needs to go isn't just that it's a wasteful, made-up, misplaced, useless agency. It's because it's cruel.
Family members in Plant City will be forced to say goodbye to this father. Luis Blanco is set to be deported by ICE at the end of this month. Now his pregnant wife and children are left to fend for themselves since he was the sole provider for this family.
I was going to go to college in January, but I couldn't because I have to help my family with the bills.
The U.S. government should not be in the business of tearing happy families apart. It's disgusting. And it makes assholes like this think they're being good citizens.
Clients at your staff is speaking Spanish to customers when they should be speaking English. And my guess is they're not documented. So my next call is to ICE to have each one of them kicked out of my country. Honey, I'm calling ICE.
The only time a New Yorker should be screaming about ICE is if your barista put 6 ice cubes in your venti unicorn latte instead of 5. Now there's no room for the colors. So no, let's not just reform ICE or fix it or hope it gets better under a different president. Let's shut it the fuck down. If former ICE agents need a new job, may I suggest the law office of Aaron Schlossberg? I think there may be a vacancy. Like most people, you've been feeling a little uncomfortable with our new pre-K presents. Good news, the president fixed it with the next worst thing.
President Trump signing this executive order to end his policy of family separations.
They will still be criminally charging the adults who cross this border illegally, but the hope is now to keep them all together in the various shelters.
This has been going on for 60 years. 60 years. Nobody's taken care of it.
Actually, buddy, it's been a month, but I agree that it feels like 60 years. You know, this is what I looked like before my makeup artist took care of me today. But anyway, yay! No more baby internment camps, just regular internment camps. Cool, that's what we call a win in 2018. To be clear, I am happy that at least these kids are theoretically going to stay with their parents, but mommy and me jails are not a solution. They're not new, and they're also not legal. We really need to be more specific with our hashtags. Hashtag keep families together, but not in jail, you monster. What is wrong with you? We have tried the family detention thing before, and it was very not good. We should not accept it as a reasonable compromise. We gotta keep fighting. Trump's executive order challenges the Flores consent decree, a 1997 agreement that states the government has to keep children in the least restrictive conditions possible. So no skinny jeans, no toddler shapewear, and no jails. The Flores settlement prohibits the government from keeping migrant children in detention for more than 20 days. Trump is challenging Flores so we can go back to the bad old days of 2014 when parents and children could be kept together indefinitely in prison. Well, not indefinitely. At a certain point during indefinitely, they'll cease to be children. It's called the behind bars mitzvah. And If you're hoping that any of the senators who tweeted since this weekend that they oppose family separation will come up with anything better, don't hold your breath. The leading bills in the Senate and the House also consider indefinite family detention to be a solution. And some Democrats have gone on record saying they're willing to vote for it. Agreeing to vote with Ted Cruz is like agreeing to do anything with Ted Cruz. You have lost your way. Baby jails are the worst possible thing, but mommy and me jails are a close second. Any solution to this problem has to start from the premise that children should not go to jail. I know, I'm such a radical leftist. Trump's decision to stop separating families should come as a big surprise to the one person who claimed they weren't doing that in the first place, Homeland Security Secretary and rogue Land's End model, Kirstjen Nielsen.
Well, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be here because I would love to see if I can help explain some of what's going on.
Uh-oh, I know that tone. There is a white lady here, and she is demanding to speak to a manager. We don't have time to show you her entire press conference, so here's a quick roundup.
We will separate those who claim to be a parent and child if we cannot determine a familiar or custodial relationship exists.
This child has no father. Take her away!
We will enforce every law we have on the books to defend the sovereignty and security of the United States.
Have you forgotten the laws upon which Narnia was built?
We now care for them. We have high standards, we give them meals, we give them education.
The Ministry of Magic has always considered the education of young witches and wizards to be of vital importance.
The border is being overrun by those who have no right to cross it.
If you want to cross a bridge, my sweet, you've got to pay the toll.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with
I am so sorry. Those comparisons are not fair. Meredith was at least a good publicist. Unfortunately for Kirstjen Nielsen, the Trump administration couldn't get its story straight before sending her out to defend its policy, not a policy, so they just told every story.
I hate the children being taken away. The Democrats have to change their law. That's their law.
I would cite you to the Apostle Paul and his clear and wise command in Romans 13 to obey the laws of the government.
These parents themselves are using these children as pawns. They know they will be separated, but they want to blame the government when we were forced to do that.
There is no separation process. As they go through the judicial process, they are temporarily separated.
Oh, okay. It's so clear now. Democrats made the law, which was in the Bible, which is fair because these children are tricking the government into separating them from their parents. And also, they're simultaneously separated and not separated. You know, just like Donald and Melania. And, you know, it's fair. And what about those cages the kids are living? I'm sorry, not cages. I meant chain link compassion walls.
Border Patrol people have reached out to us. They are very uncomfortable, in their words, with his characterization of the words cages. They said it's not inaccurate, but they're very uncomfortable with using the word cages.
Wow, who knew conservatives were so sensitive about the C word? I should make a note of that. The Trump administration, we've come to expect mutilations of the English language. Hell, even the person they sent out to explain their policy has a name that's a crime against spelling. But the only thing we learned from her press conference is that Kirstjen is Fajil of Shajit. Look how she and the rest of Trump's lady brigade act like the press are evil monsters for asking them about their own policy.
Are you intending for parents to be separated from their children? Are you intending to send a message?
I find that offensive. No.
Come on, Sarah, you're a parent. Don't you have any empathy for what these people are going through? They have less than you do.
Guys,
Sarah, come on,
settle down.
You changed a policy to impress your base. You got to pop in the polls with them, and you're okay with the instruction and harshness. Just own it.
How dare you?
I was told my apple care and I could walk in the store and get the part.
How dare you? How dare you? Can you not see that I am a white lady unaccustomed to accountability? Okay, here's the thing. These women are complicit. But the family separation policy comes from these guys and this millennial Nosferatu, who have mostly been nowhere to be seen this week. Yell at Kirsten Nielsen all you want, and I have, and I will continue to do so, but you should be yelling at them too. Trump's anti-immigration henchmen love to point out that they're dealing with a serious crime and that we don't let American criminals hang on to their children in jail. But unlawful entry isn't a felony, it's a federal misdemeanor. To give you a better idea of how severe these kinds of infractions are, other actual federal misdemeanors include using the American flag for advertising purposes, neglecting to answer census questions, taking shellfish from New York harbor channels, and detaining a seaman's clothing. Oh, so I'm not supposed to detain a seaman's clothing anymore? What am I supposed to do during Fleet Week? And I swear to Jesus Christ, this is real. Misusing Smokey Bear. Oh my God! That's how Smokey looks now? I can think of a few ways to misuse him. We don't have a cruel zero-tolerance policy against every woman who explores her sensual urges with trademarks of the United States Forest Service yet. And we don't need to have that kind of policy against people who come to America seeking a better life or protection from violence in their home country.
I'm ice skater Adam Rippon.
And I'm ice skater watcher Samantha B. Oh.
And welcome to Ice on Ice.
The only guide to fighting the excesses of immigration and customs enforcement that's also an ice show.
Now, Sam.
Yes.
Why are we doing that insane thing you just said?
Well, Adam, I really wanted to make sure people knew their rights, and ice is so awful, this was the only way to make it Christmassy.
So, what can we do to fight ICE's overreach?
Great question. Here with the answer are the full frontal abolish ice skaters.
Amazing pun.
Thank you, Adam.
I didn't mean it. Ah, and there goes the ICE agency.
Represented by the worst person you encounter on the ice, a hockey douche. Oh.
Wow.
Oh, no, that's nasty. Man. Horrible. Oh, no, don't you manhandle that poor boy. No.
Oh, right in the sow cow.
Whoa. Ice is way too aggressive. But today we're going to show how you can legally help your friends and neighbors deal with them. If ICE comes to your home, you do have rights.
Even if your home is just a door.
You do not have to let ICE in.
Not unless they have an ID and a signed warrant.
Oh, this is gonna be bad.
What does hitting the pucks represent, Sam?
It's the chipping away of civil rights, Adam. There we go. Oh, no, tough break. Oh, no, no, that is not appropriate.
Why aren't you out there skating with him, Sam?
I don't know, Adam. Why are you such a nosy jerk?
Here's something else you can do to help.
If you see ICE activity, you can publicize it on social media.
It looks like everyone's sharing ICE's location. Beautiful extension on those tweet hands.
That's gonna go viral.
Nice to see social media helping someone other than the president for once.
Having some back troubles.
Oh.
No, nope. Oh. How embarrassing for ICE. You know, Adam, you don't have to be a hip teen to resist ICE.
That's right. You can also be an old, like you, Sam.
I will cut you. One of the best things you can do is to organize your community not to cooperate with ICE. Almost as important as wearing sequins when you're ice skating.
That's right, Sam. My entire life's work comes down to sequins and rhinestones, you basic cable nightmare.
The most important thing is to elect officials who plan to abolish ICE. When we all work together, we can do amazing skating tricks that ICE can't copy. Oh, no. Oh, he can't even keep a look.
Beautiful.
I probably could do that if I tried.
Oh, no, Mary.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, she's already been through so much.
Woo! And ICE has been defeated.
For Ice on Ice, I'm Adam Rippon.
And I'm frozen to this chair.
Ew. Why?
I don't know. Oh, no. I do know why.
I do too.
I'm Girl Fieri, and we're rolling out looking for America's greatest diners, drive-ins, and dives, and the undocumented immigrants who make all those things possible. Let's go! Woo! That's right. If you're one of the 100% of Americans that eat food, you've benefited from the work of an undocumented immigrant. There are 1.3 million of them working in restaurants in the U.S., everything from fast food to fast douche. So I cruised on down to Flavortown with a PH, that's Philadelphia, to meet Christina Martinez, an undocumented immigrant who owns South Philly Barbacoa. Pow! Pew, 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 pew! She came to the U.S. and worked her way up from dishwasher to wildly successful business owner. So I'm here to understand what it's like to be undocumented and making our food.
Call your mommy, that's a lot of pastrami.
And maybe I'll even drop some deep-fried sizzle bombs on her.
Kablam!
Sorry, Guy Fieri doesn't talk like this. He's a very nice person.
Tradicionalmente en Capital cocinamos la barbacoa. Mucha paciencia, mucho amor.
Love, but also oregano.
Es un secreto. Esa es receta de familia.
Okay, I'm just going to assume it's crushed up Doritos. No! But if you don't want to cook with America's national vegetable, why leave Mexico at all?
Tenía que salir del país. Mi esposo estaba agrediéndome mucho, bastante, con agresión física, verbal y psicológica. Solamente quería yo salvar mi vida.
If only she'd been a white fetus, Republicans would have loved her. But instead, like many immigrants, the life she's built here is at greater risk since Trump was flushed into the White House. Are you nervous to speak on camera?
No tengo miedo de hablar de la plataforma que los chefs tenemos el poder para cambiar el sistema. Está aquí Donald Trump, él es bienvenido.
What?
Sí, ¿por qué no? Porque él es un ser humano.
But do you serve taco bowls here?
No.
Oh, she's such a good person. And not just because she refuses to serve well-done steak and ketchup.
Los chefs tenemos la plataforma directamente porque es muy grande, que los chefs no podríamos ser chef si no tenemos a nuestros granjeros, a la gente que es limpiando como los dishwashers, a los boy, bartender.
She's right. There are millions of undocumented immigrant hands making our food, and they touch every part of the food chain. Without them, it'd be bye-bye fruits and vegetables, so long milk and cheese. There'd also be no one to process, slaughter, or raise the meat. Plus, they clean your dishes, serve your table, and make the entire restaurant run, so don't forget to tip. But maybe you don't know about undocumented immigrants' labor because they have to spend their lives in the shadows. I spoke with some immigrants so at risk they can't even show their faces. But trust me, they all thought my cooking was really, really good. Perfecto. Thank you. I made this with my bare hands. Tiene mucho amor. You can taste the love? That's one of the main ingredients. And if you think being an actor waiting tables is bad, imagine how much worse it gets if you're undocumented.
Hacíamos el trabajo de las 5 personas que éramos, nos quedamos 2 trabajando haciendo el mismo trabajo, pero nunca hubo un aumento de sueldo.
Da miedo hablar por mí mismo a veces con un jefe, porque cuando tú te quieres defender, entonces ellos buscan la manera de correrte.
Sí, me ponían a hacer trabajos, destapar el baño. Yo decía, pero ese no es mi trabajo, yo estoy cocinando, a mí me pagan por cocinar.
God, why can't people stop clogging restaurant toilets? And since many restaurant workers at the very bottom can't demand fair treatment themselves, they'll need help from a celebrated immigrant TV host of an Emmy-nominated show. Wait, I meant me. Oh my God, Padma Lakshmi said yes? I have the best idea. Good morning, Padma. I'm here for my first quickfire.
Sam, what is this?
Oh, please just let me do this. Please, 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 please. I love Top Chef.
All right, fine. Your time starts now.
Oh my God, okay. Yeah, the competition's really tough this round. Who turned off my burner? Did you turn my burner off? It's important to remember who I'm doing this for. Myself.
I just wanted to come here and talk about some really serious issues affecting immigrants in the food world.
Wait, stop, please.
And Sam just wants to turn it into Top Chef. I'm not even that judgy. 3, 2, time's up. Hands up, utensils down.
Today I made for you a jambon et fromage with a croquant of Jolly Ranches from the bottom of my purse.
Interesting choice. It's a little salty.
But she did have more positive things to say about the hardworking immigrants that make our food.
I think the food landscape in this country would be completely different without immigrant labor.
Why do you think that immigrants are such unsung heroes?
Because they don't want to cause trouble. They will do the grunt work that nobody else is willing to do because they have to support themselves, their families. They also often send money back to their birth countries. And so a lot of them are really afraid to speak up. But everybody has the right to be treated in a dignified manner. Immigrants are people too. We just want to work hard. We just want the same thing for our children that anyone else wants for theirs. We all have a responsibility to reach down and pull up the people who really break their back for you day in and day out.
Immigrants are the backbone of our restaurant industry. Let's celebrate the people who work so hard to make our food. And speaking of celebrating people who worked really hard, and my top chef,
Sam, please pack your knives and go.
But I live here.
Go.
Okay, I'll do what you said. Thank you for rejecting me.